Greetings, family. Welcome to the Breaking the Spell show. It is now 12:25 p.m. Interestingly, I was watching a program today on YouTube with Professor Griff and Vicky Dillard. It was on Black Magic 363 with Brother Rich, who asked some very interesting questions. A lot of questions that people don't want to ask. Big up to Brother Rich for that. The program was being talked about was social distancing, protests, and the reopening of the economy. So as they were speaking, the sister Vicky Dillard, she went to the good book, the book of Revelations, 12:12, balance. And it reads, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time." So she was making mention that the devil rule is up. The evil one rule is up. And what's happening is that there's a change of power, and it's time for Africans, Caribbeans, Latinos, Mexicans. It's time for us to raise to power as a people. There's a shift in the power structure, and it's time for us to embrace it. But it seems as if they just act as if they didn't hear what she was saying about the power switch. They just ran past that. As their good book states that honor thy mother and father, and your days will be longer. We should all know by now, we're in the information age, that Africa is a cradle of civilization. Everyone stems from the African or a certain species. There's 9 species of Africans. There is 6 species of what you call the Caucasoid race. And there's 3 species of what you call Mongoloids or Orientals. You follow? So they have not honored their mother and father. So their days are short. It is very short for them. And it's time for us as a people to come to power on what we agree on. So within this interview, they were speaking of social distancing. This is something that's been practiced in our culture, where we used to stand at a certain distance and we used to bow to each other, because we recognize there's an energy field around each person. And once that energy field meshes, you start to share energy. Just as if you might wear somebody else's clothes, the energy of that person is within the clothing. To make it even simpler, if a person wore clothing and they had a certain cologne or perfume that he or she wore, and the stain of that perfume stays within the fabric of the clothing. And if that scent was exclusively just for that person, once you wear that clothing that he or she wore, you start to carry that scent. Well, it's the same thing with spirit forces. It's the same thing with mixing or DNA. These things can be passed on to other people. So the reality of the situation is that it's us or it's time for us as Africans to rule. Everything has an expiry date. The question you should ask yourself is, do certain animals go extinct? Yes or no? Why do they go extinct? Is there a limited age on what a human being can live? According to the Bible, it's 120 years. Genesis 6 verse 3. My spirit shall not always strive with man, for my years is 120 years. So that's a capacity, 120 years, according to the Bible. However, from eating bad foods, breathing bad air, and mixing with bad people, our lifespan has been cut short. So, the human animal, or within this human race, there's also species. For example, you have felines, you have lions, you have tigers, you have cougars, you have leopards, but these are all different species of the feline. You follow? So even within the human race, there's also species. Amongst the African, there's 9 species. Amongst the Orientals or the Mongoloids, there are 3 species. Among the Caucasus or Caucasian, there is 6 species. Among what you call the Hindus or the Dravidians, there are 7 species. But nature dictates that one species has to go. Just like any other species within the animal species, or what we call animal species. You follow? And it so happened that nature, or who they call God, arranged it in a certain way where a certain species have to leave the planet by closing the womb of the woman of a specific race. They have become infertile. You don't see any history or great history of record within the black community or the Chinese community or the Indian community where they have to take fertility pills. You follow? Or adopt a lot of babies to prolong their life or their lifespan or their generation. Nature sets it up. When it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. And it's time for Africans to start to rule again. It is our time. Like Public Enemy stated, the fear of a black planet.